Today we're going to be modeling Minecraft mobs in 60 seconds, 10 minutes, and 1 hour. I've been a really big fan of this idea for a while, with art channels that do these with their own art. So we're bringing the genre into my territory today with Minecraft mob modeling. It was really fun to see how my models changed based on how much time I had to make them, so stick around to the end to find out how they differed between the time spans. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Minecraft content. Without further ado, let's get modeling. So the first mob I want to remodel is the skeleton. It's a pretty classic mob from the good old days, so let's see how we can Bubbafy this first creature. So first things first, we'll start with the 1 minute skeleton. 1 minute on the clock, and let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna add a cube for the leg, scale it up on the Y, duplicate it, because you need 2 legs. Get a block for the torso, scale it that way, scale it up on the Y, scale it back on the Z, move it forward a little bit. We're gonna duplicate these 2 for the arms, add another cube for the head, scale it up on the X. Now we really need to get texturing. Create texture, just call it texture because we don't have time. Gonna paint it all up here, just the important parts. And 7 seconds left on the clock. Get a face on it at very least. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, beautiful. And time, that's time. Oh, it's gorgeous. I think I got it at very least perfectly symmetrical, so that's noteworthy. He's got a face and some eyes, the most important part. Very beautiful skull. His body is so chunky, but his arms are so slim. I mean, for 60 seconds, it's not horrible. His bow looks massive in his hands too. Or you know what, his face kind of looks like a electrical outlet. Obviously there's not much detail because 60 seconds. With that, let's swiftly move on to the next one. 10 minutes up on the clock, and with that we shall begin. Okay, so I guess I'll spend a little more time on the legs, but not too much. I typically spend probably like 20 to 30 minutes on a given texture, normally without a time limit. So this is still pretty limiting, but I can be a little more careful with how I do things here. I think I will try to add in some like bony arms and everything just to like make it fresh. We'll start with a base layer of a grayish. We can actually spend the time to get it all colored in, you know what I mean? So that's pretty good. So I'm just gonna start cutting out parts of the body. I want to give some indication of like ribs here, just like the normal skeleton. I don't know that I'll have much time to actually texture it fully. I'd rather focus on like getting the idea that it's a skeleton out first. I am still very stressed though and under a lot of pressure right now, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So now I want to focus on the head, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make the head a little bit see-through since he's a skelly. That looks really good. Okay, so now we have some extra time. I will take a low opacity brush, and I'll just start adding a bunch of texturing to this nice skeleton. Give some indication of like indentation on the face. With the spare time, I want to give him a little yellow tinge to give a sense of like some sort of aging on the skeleton. And there's 1 minute left on the clock. I guess I'll go in and make him look a little spooky. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Holy wow. Ooh. That is spooky right there. That is spooky. I think I did pretty well for 10 minutes. He looks pretty bony. Oh, and look at that. Look, it looks like his eyes are following you almost. That was actually unintentional, but still really cool. There you have the skeleton in 10 minutes. He's actually pretty freaky. Yeah, he looks pretty bony, pretty skeleton-y. And that brings us to our 1 hour skeleton model. For this model, I really want to bring the skeleton to life. So I started with the leg joints and the pelvis, then I worked my way up to the torso, where I designed a nice 3-dimensional rib cage for the skeleton. After I was satisfied with the rib cage, I moved on to model some base level arms for later texturing. At this point, I knew I would take advantage of the transparency in my model to make it really stand out and add another layer of boniness. Now I spent a few minutes with the head trying to make a cool 2-layered effect like the one we had in the 10-minute model. I had a lot of time remaining, so I knew it could be very detailed. In fact, I took a moment to model this arrow sticking out of the top of the skeleton's head. I felt like it was a nice charm on top of the model itself. It ended up giving the mob a lot of character, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now I began to add some finer detail and texturing to the model, making the bones actually look like bones and not PVC pipe from Lowe's. Right around this time, I began to make a quiver since the skeleton seemed to have an endless supply of arrows. I think it makes more sense for the mob to have a quiver on his back. I made some final touches around the model, fixed up the mouth, and with just about 0 seconds left on the clock, we'll call that a finished mob. I'm pretty happy with how the model turned out. I think I managed to capture the skeleton pretty well, but also make him look like a creepy fella, so it's pretty cool in that sense. The arrow sticking out of his head was actually a really nice touch. I'm quite fond of how worn he looks. He looks like he's been to war and back. I definitely would be thinking twice before going into a shootout with this fella. So next I want to try the witch. She's a very detailed mob. I mean, she's even got a 3D pimple. Needless to say, there's a lot of territory to work with, so let's get started with the 60-second model. 1 minute on the clock, and here we go. Alright, so first, some legs, as always. Good. And we'll just give her a nice cloaked body here. Need to act quickly. That arm's really long, but I can't do anything about it right now. Just make the head. Alright, that's good enough. That's a really weird skin tone. Body. And a face, and he gets some shoes time. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was really bad. Oh god, it is so bad. There it is, the witch. I didn't even get a chance to color like half her back and her arms. I didn't get to put a hat on her either. She looks like a really disfigured Lego person. Let's move on to the 10-minute one. Alright, 10 minutes is on the clock, and here we go. Really take my time with these legs. I don't know how tall is a witch, like 12? Oh, occurs to me that we need to make these legs a lot thicker, and I suppose. I guess I'm still in skeleton mode. So that looks alright, so I think we're gonna need to start texturing here. Give her some nice purple eyes. Those are nice and evil, aren't they? We'll go with a nice purple cloak. Pretty standard witch stuff, you know. 3 minutes left on the clock. Looking pretty good. Give her some bags under her eyes. There's some random blemishes. Make her look like a pumpkin or something. I don't want to get too invested in anything because there's only 2 minutes left on the clock. But, yeah, let's try to give her some hair. Alright, that is 10 minutes work right there. Not amazing, but it's something. And there we are, our 10-minute witch. It's alright. I mean, she's ugly. Pretty good for 10 minutes, eh? And with that, let's get started on our 1-hour witch model. So to make this witch really witchy, I had to make her posture reflect her witchiness. So I began this model by breaking up the torso into different segments in order to give her a sort of hunch stance. After I built the torso, I gave her some base model arms, and immediately got to work on the head. At this point, I was doing a lot of experimentation between the nose and the overall face shape, because that can truly make or break a witch's look. Next, I gave her some straw-like hair to make a sense of aging in the model. Now that I was satisfied with the overall structure of the mob, I applied a flesh-colored texture to the entire witch as a base. I got swiftly to work on the facial details as well as the hat, and I figured I'd work my way down from there. With a satisfactory clothing run, I moved back up to the face to add some final details, wrinkles, and bags. I experimented with a layer underneath the head, which allowed me to give extra depth and a bit of squintiness to the eyes. I was honestly very surprised at how much time I had left over, so I went back through, adding some even finer details to the model. And I suppose as we have so much time left, I decided I would give her classic nose wart as a final detail. Well, we made it. 1 hour later, and our witch is finally ready for showing off. Here's the witch back in game, and boy, does she look witchy. I'm quite fond of her hunch. It makes her feel like an old granny that's about to throw bleach in your face, which is the exact vibe we're aiming for. I think I would definitely be more afraid to step into a witch's hut knowing this thing is rolling around inside. Dang, she looks like she was the first pilgrim to step foot on America. Maybe she was friends with Nana. With our second mob complete, let's move on to everyone's favorite tall boy, the Iron Golem. Although most people disregard this mob as a free iron source, I see him as more than just a couple blocks of resources. 1 minute on the clock, and get the f out of here. Norton, shut the f. I can't close it! And 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna start with a couple legs. We'll make them pretty far apart, because that's, you know, how the Iron Golem is. He has legs that are far apart. Oh, beautiful. That is gorgeous. Okay, now we'll add another cube. Make a head for him. That'll do for the head. And there's an arm. I only have 16 seconds left, so I really need to start adding a texture. We're gonna paint him all white. Wait. And can we get a face on him in 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds? It's beautiful! That's time! The 1 minute Iron Golem. He's just a friendly little guy. Your head is really messed up, bro. Wait, let's see what the cracked version of him looks like. That is horrifying. Oh, he's so ugly. Let's move on to our 10-minute version. 3, 2, 1, 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes is not actually that much time, I found out, but we're gonna try to actually make the proportions at least somewhat normal. This is looking like Moto. Yeah, first few minutes just trying to get everything right and not rush it. Alright, now to make this guy look like some iron. Actually, they're gonna be green eyes because he's a good guy. Now I'm gonna come in with that low opacity brush that we all love so much. Him look like he's been taken by the greenery. I had a couple of like little growing, it looks like Christmas lights. You can get a little leg action in there. And he does have like some sort of like cap over his head, doesn't he? And that is time! That's the 10-minute Golem. Oh, he's actually is he a little short? A little short, but you know, he's cute. Yeah, obviously not much time to refine him, but I'm satisfied. And with that, we can move on to the final texture, which is the 1-hour Iron Golem. To start our 1-hour Golem, I took the first couple of minutes to get the proportions of the Golem correct. I didn't use a reference, I went purely from memory, so it's a rough estimate of the Iron Golem's proportions. After that, I coated the model with a layer of white, and I got straight to work on the face and head. I played around with the texture for a while to see what suited the Golem the best. Then I got to work on fine texturing. I wanted to introduce something truly new and unique to the model, so I modeled a pumpkin helmet on the head, which I think makes a lot of sense because you use a pumpkin to summon an Iron Golem. I've always been bothered by that, the fact that there's no pumpkin anywhere to be found on the Golem, so this kind of solves that issue. I then glossed over the body and arms to make him look actually like an Iron Golem and not like the Michelin Man. After that, I started to wrap some vines around his chest to make him more naturey. I went on to texture the vines as well as added a couple small dandelions. I decided I wasn't happy with the lack of pumpkin on him, so I also gave him some pumpkin boots as a finishing touch of pumpkin. I made some final touches around the iron to make it look more shiny, and then I finished up by adding a couple of blooming flowers growing off him. I finalized the face by giving him green eyes instead of red because he's clearly a very good and naturey boy, and not a red-eye evil villain like the Mojang propaganders would have you believe. Anyways, here's our final model in the game, and I'm loving how this turned out. I feel like I made a pretty natural and organic design, and I'm especially glad that I found a way to incorporate a pumpkin into the model. I think three-dimensional vines adds another layer of life and entanglement to the Golem, which makes him feel like this mighty warrior who has become a part of nature and has accepted it into his way of life. And the pumpkin hat and boots really reinforce and bring together that notion. Let me know what you guys thought about these models in the comments, and tell me which one was your favorite. This video was a lot of fun to put together. It was the perfect mix of extremely stressful and entertaining. Also, I'm still putting together a video of all your crazy resource pack ideas, so reply to my pinned comment below if you want the chance to have your idea in a video. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and with that, I'll see you all in the next one.